Hello everybody, Calamity here. We got a long video for you today. We're going to do the Spiral Abyss that just came out a few days ago now. And before we start, let's go ahead and look at the Blessing of the Abyssal Moon. You're going to get a shockwave that deals true damage every time you trigger a pyro-related reaction. And this can be triggered once every 3 seconds. So bring a pyro character if you can. It's going to be basically a bunch of free damage, whether you're doing Vaporize, Melt, Burgeon even. Like, it's all good. And it makes sense. We just got the Pyro Archon character in the banner, so that's probably why they have a pyro-themed blessing. But not only that, Hoyoverse actually did something. They have done this in the past, but it's very rare. There is a buff on floor 12. In fact, there's 2 different buffs. So on the first half, the pyro damage of all your party members' normal attacks will be increased by 75%, and on the second half, all of your Night Soul Align damage is going to be increased by 75%. If you don't know what Night Soul Align stuff is, that's basically just Natlan character shenanigans. If you didn't pull for any Natlan characters or you didn't build any, then this is not something you have to worry about or something you're going to benefit from. However, on the first half, surely some of you guys, or most of you guys doing this, have some sort of pyro DPS that can take advantage of this, but if you don't, also okay. Plenty of teams that can still beat the Spiral Abyss with or without the help of the buffs. I'm just saying you should take advantage of them just to give yourself an easier time. Keep in mind, it's only normal attacks, so characters like Hu Tao, Yan Fei, and Gaming's plunge attacks aren't going to benefit. Alright, these are the teams I'm going to go with. So I will be trying to take advantage of the first half's buff by using Arlecchino. And in my defense, she is having a rerun on the second half of this patch. So if you want to pull for her and use her in the Spiral Abyss, this would be an excellent time to do so. However, don't forget there's plenty of other Pyro DPS characters that can also take advantage of this buff, just like Yoimiya, just like Diluc, for example. Just plenty of characters out there. Pick your poison, basically. Yolanda is here, but if you don't have her, you can always use Jingcho instead. Bennett for the buff and the heals. There's honestly no substitute for him yet. And Zhongli as a shielder. If you don't have Zhongli, any shielder will do. You can use Layla, you can use Kirara. Just as long as you have a shielder, it's just for the comfy shield, because Arlecchino can't really heal unless she uses her burst. So that's why we have a shield and to not have to waste time dodging attacks. On the second half team, we have an Aggravate Clorin team, and again, in my defense, she is also having her own rerun alongside Arlecchino. But again, you don't have to use her. Any, Aggravate, Alhaitham, Bloom spread type stuff is actually going to do really well here. But the reason why Electro is important, or Electro or Pyro is really important here, because on the first boss we have to deal with a boss that has a bunch of ice clones or cryo clones, and we need Electro or Pyro to kill them as fast as possible. And Electro does a good job of that. That's why Fischl's also here. Nihida to help apply Denjo and to proc the aggravates. Don't forget that Denjo doesn't interact with Cryo in any way, so when we get to that boss, they won't be able to help us as much. And Yao Yao here for additional Dendro application, as well as to be our healer. And with that being said, let's finally get started. Got some nice character buffs there. The first fight is the gigantic chicken bird thing, Mountain King from Natlan. If you're not familiar with this boss fight, a little ways in, he's going to spit out 3 eggs. You need to apply Pyro to all 3 of them, and then he'll eat them all up. And if you did apply Pyro, he'll take a lot of damage and get stunned. That's pretty much the only gimmick to this boss fight. Other than that, it's a straight up fight. Just damage as much as possible. Dodge is easy to see attacks. But first, we have these 3 ads basically before we fight the boss. So let's just get rid of them. So there we go, just keep damaging the boss. There are the eggs. There we go, and then we just go back to damaging it. When he gets up, watch out for his spinning attack. If he pats his belly like that, he's gonna spin. Like that. So if you're ranged, not a big deal, just run away, but make sure your shields are up if you're melee, otherwise you're gonna get hit a bunch. and that is not fun. And that should be a wrap on the first half. So pretty straightforward there. And now we have one of the newer bosses. So I kind of explained how she works in the prep phase. So we're just going to showcase it now. We got the ads first. Let's get rid of them. Kind of messed up a little, but it's alright. There we go. Now we can focus the boss. Nope. Immediately splits into those clones. We have to be very careful here because they do hit a lot. This is probably the hardest part of the whole fight, is the clones, but once they're down, it's pretty easy. She'll get back up, but don't worry. She won't do the clone thing anytime soon. Nope. Our rotation got messed up a little bit there, but all good. There we go. We definitely could have done that. I would say about 10 or 20 seconds faster because I got hit a lot, had to heal, and just cleaner rotations overall would have made that a lot smoother. But hey, we still got a decent time, I would say. Pretty straightforward on this chamber. Again, the clones is the worst part. Focus on killing them as fast as you can. It's not like a gimmick thing, by the way, where you have to like find the real one, hitting them among the clones. It's like you just kill all of them as fast as you can, and that'll stun her. So now we're just gonna fight the I forgot the name of it. It's from Leeway. It's the these guys, this boss, the tiger fin things. I'm sorry, I can't remember their name right now. We're just gonna get through the ads fairly quickly. There we go. Now we have the real boss. If you brought the right elements, this fight becomes a lot easier. But don't worry if you didn't, you can just brute force it like I'm about to. I believe cryo is the one you want. So it tells you here, freezing an opponent or melt will help you on this phase, but that's okay. You don't have it. So we're just gonna go through it. That was a big mistake. Get that shield up. When these orbs pop out, we can pop them with Arlecchino or any of your DPSs to stun the boss. So. And it's pretty free. Once you get to this point, right? It's pretty much dead. So look for those orbs. Hit them with any element that reacts with Anemo, because they're Anemo orbs. So Electro, Pyro, Cryo, and Hydro, and it'll get stunned like that. Pretty easy stuff though. Let's move on to the second half, which is just 2 mimics. Pretty easy here. Just a Ruin Guard, so oops. Maybe don't get hit by it like me. Like I am getting hit. And do this. Kind of messed up that rotation a bit, but it's okay. Finish it up again with another skill. There's the other mimic. You're gonna do the same thing. Just fill up the bar. Stay out of them circles. Oops. And we just want the same thing. Pretty easy, right? So for the mimics, that little bar you fill up, yes, if you have Natlan characters, it fills up even faster. But if you don't, try to bring your fast hitting characters. I'm using Kurin, for example. Yoimiya is another good one. Hu Tao, just fast hitting, constant attacks to fill up the bar. As well as off-field damage. So we also had Fischl helping out a lot, especially after C6 with Oz. That's a lot of attacks, and it'll fill that bar really fast. Hyper Bloom also does it pretty fast as well, because you're constantly hitting it, you're constantly applying elements to it and hitting it with the Hyper Blooms. And we're in the last chamber. And honestly, this is pretty easy for the first half. It's just this thing. You want to do as much hits as you can. You see this little bar? We want to get rid of it as fast as we can, like so. You get a bunch of energy if you do. And you won't have to deal with a cryo shield, and we can just kill it. So last but not least is this little machine from Fontaine. I'm sure you're familiar with it by now. Nothing too crazy, right? Watch out for that spinning attack, I suppose. It can be really annoying because you don't have a shield, but not too bad there, right? Just 2 enemies, and then we have basically a boss version of the mimics. And it also is going to have the same bar as well. So you just want to do a bunch of hits at the start as soon as possible. It's also going to morph into a bunch of different bosses, so it's hard to say just like, you know, watch out for this and that attack, but it really is just that. Just be careful, watch your HP, keep your healing up, and be mindful of where you're stepping. Let's go ahead and start. Fill up that bar as fast as we can. There we go. It's gonna get back up pretty fast. Oh, be careful there. That could have been bad. Ooh wee. Ah, where was I shooting there? There we go. We have plenty of time, so we're not worried. If it does this charge up thing again, just do the same thing. You just do the fast hitting attacks. So, plenty of time. And we'll go ahead and do a photo finish. And that's pretty much it. It's just the same thing over and over again. Fill up the bar, do a lot of attacks. Again, I played it slow, but I played it safe because we had a lot of time to work with. So we could have definitely cleared this with like maybe 745 at best if we did a lot cleaner rotations and stuff again. And that's just something I hope a lot of players understand. Like, you don't need the Natlan characters. I just did it right now with a bunch of Fontaine and Sumeru characters, so it's doable. A little bit harder, sure, but definitely not impossible. And I hope you don't feel like you have to pull for Natlan characters just to beat it, because you don't. And there are plenty of other teams you can use. You don't have to use the Chlorin Aggravate. You could probably use Sinnoh as well if you want, or if you have Alhaitham, like I mentioned before, Tainari. But it doesn't also have to be just a Dendro team. You can use, maybe you have another Pyro team you want to use here, or an Overcharge team maybe if you have Chevreuse. All of them are going to work really, really well. So you have a lot of options for this Abyss. Don't let those buffs tell you otherwise. And that's pretty much it. Let's show you guys the builds for my characters, and then we'll hop on out of here. All right, I'm going to kind of do this out of order-ish, but let's go ahead and start with Bennett, who's at level 90. Skyward Blade, maxed out at Refinement 1, gives a lot of attack and energy recharge. Noblesse Oblige with, emphasis on energy recharge, HP. I did get some with crit rate, crit damage on it, but it's just mainly heals. Sands has energy recharge. Circlet has healing bonus. C6, so he's giving Arlecchino a nice little pyro damage bonus. And his talents are 1, 8, and 12. Next up is Zhongli, who has an odd build. Again, Deathmatch is not necessary at all. You could easily just give him a White Tassel or a Favonius Lance. And in fact, they'll be way better than the Deathmatch. Artifacts are Tenacity of the Millith with an emphasis on HP and getting a bit of damage and energy recharge as well. HP and Sands both have HP as the main stat, and I got a crit damage circlet for some reason. But that could also be HP. If you want even more tankier shields. And then his constellations, he's at C0. Talents are 5, 9, and 10. Except his Yelan, 90, signature weapon. Emblem of Severed Fate, built as a DPS with energy recharge, HP percentage, crit rate, crit damage, all that good stuff. She is at C1, which I will admit is mainly for exploration purposes, but it does help out a lot to use her skill twice. So her burst is basically up usually all the time, because you get it twice. And then we have 8, 10, and 10 for her talents. Oops. Last but not least, on the first half team is Arlecchino, excuse me. 90, signature weapon. Artifact, she's using the Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy, which basically gives you a bunch of damage, as long as you have Bond of Life, which for Arlecchino is all the time. And substats are basically just DPS stuff, crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage. Bit of energy recharge is nice, I suppose. And then we have Sands attack, pyro damage goblet, crit rate circlet. C0, 10, 10, and 9. Now let's do the second half team, which has Chlorind, level 90. Absolution, which is her signature weapon. She's also using a Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy set, built in the same way as Arlecchino, honestly. Crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, etc., etc. Attack Sands, electro damage goblet, crit rate circlet. For artifact sets, you can swap her to the, if you like the Thundering Fury, because there was a couple times where I found myself still waiting on the cooldown of her skill. And Thundering Fury helps reduce this. It's definitely a good option to consider, for sure. She's also at C0, and her talents are 9, 9, and 8. Next up is Nahida, 90, signature weapon. She's using the Deepwood Memory set, just built for Elemental Mastery and a bit of damage. So some crit rate, some crit damage, a little bit of energy recharge where we can fit it. And, oh, did I show all the artifacts? Flower, Plume, Sands, all Elemental Mastery main stats, by the way. There you go, C0. Talents are 7, 9, and 9. Next up is Fischl. She has the Stringless at Refinement 5. This is to give her bonus Elemental Mastery for better aggravates, as well as boost her damage as well. And her artifacts are in a weird spot, I'll admit. She's using 2-piece Golden Troop and 2-piece Gilded Dreams. I am in the, transitioning her over to a full Golden Troop set. But honestly, in Aggravate, the Gilded Dreams isn't too bad either. Extra Elemental Mastery is always nice. She is at C6, and I mentioned during the Spiral Abyss that C6 is really, really good. Just because Oz does attacks with whatever characters on the field, so that's more attacks, filling up those bars faster, destroying those clones faster with the electro damage. So really, really good talent, or excuse me, constellation there. And I forgot to showcase the artifact. Sorry, kind of going a little too fast. Yeah, attack percentage, Elemental Mastery good, crit damage, all right as well. Elemental Mastery Sands. Crit damage circlet, electro damage bonus goblet. I wouldn't really follow this build. It's kind of all over the place, but you know, if you're just looking at what my character had, I would definitely recommend go full 4-piece golden troop, or 2-piece elemental mastery by 80 from like Gilded Dreams and like another set. Talents are 9, 11, and 11. And then last but certainly not least was Yao Yao, who is using a Favonius Lance, so more energy for the team. Also using Deepwood Memory Set, built as just a support. Energy recharge, HP percentage, HP on everything. Crit rate also really good for the Favonius Lance, by the way, which is why it's highlighted there. She's only at C1, so if we had more constellations for her, she would have more healing and just, you know, better overall buffs and stuff. So not even a full constellations on the Yao Yao yet. 177 for the talents. And that's pretty much it for my builds. So once again, Spiral Abyss, don't feel like you have to have this team that you're seeing right before you with Malvika, Shilinen, Zalali. Again, they do make it easier and better to do the Spiral Abyss, but definitely not like you have to pull or you're screwed kind of situation. So there's definitely a lot of characters that can do it. I believe in you. If you have any other questions, though, feel free to ask in the comments down below. If you want to share the characters that you use, the teams that you use, or any additional boss tips, feel free to leave those down below as well. I always love reading those kinds of comments. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and or subscribe to the channel if this was helpful for you. And I'll be making more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.